Hi guys, welcome to Pydjango Tutorials. So as you all know, I haven't posted the video for the very long. I think it's almost 1 year since I last posted a video, and I know many of you are commenting and messaging me through Telegram that sir, please post the video for the online status and many functionalities as well. But for some reason, some of my personal stuffs, I can't post a video uh, for very long. But for now, I am trying to finish this video series as early as possible, this WhatsApp clone. And I'll try to be frequent as much as possible, but I'm not sure how much I can. But for now, I'll try to finish this video series. So as you know, since last where we left, I guess we have just simply created our chat consumer so we can, have a personal one-to-one chat. And there are a bunch of other functions that I have promised, such as online and offline status of the user and chat notifications. So in this video series or in this particular video, I will try to implement online and offline status of the user. So here's the demo of what I mean. So let's say this is where I'm logged in with Anshu. So let's say I want to chat with Joshua. So I use this. Now you can see Joshua is online, sorry, offline. So because Joshua's status is offline, and that is in this window, I'm logged in as Joshua. So let's say I want to chat with Anshu. So I come in this tab to chat with Anshu, and you can see that the status has changed to online. And you can see here that Joshua's name is coming in green color. So this means that Joshua is online. Now remember, now let's see if I close this window, or if I navigate away from this particular web page. So let's say if I press the back button, you can see here Joshua's status has again changed back to offline. Now let's say I come back to that particular web page again, you can see status has changed to online, offline, online. So this is all happening in real time. As soon as Joshua is uh, leaving the web page, the status is changed to offline. As soon as he's entering in the web page, uh, the status is changed to online. Similarly, if I walk away from this account, that is Anshu's account, Anshu's status is changed to offline. Now, if I again come back to that same page, Anshu's status has changed to online. So this is what we will implement in this video using WebSockets and signals and bunch of other tools that Django and django-channels provide. So we'll configure that and create this functionality here. Okay, so I guess we can start with our code. So let's get started. Now, before starting, if you are getting that user matching query does not found this kind of error, what you can do is change this URL path, and that issue will be resolved. This is happening because of the URL mismatching. We are getting some kind of string from the front end that is not present as username in our table or model, and that's why that issue is happening. So either you can use try catch block, or you can just simply change the path to this, and this URL will be, or this issue will be resolved. Now we can start with our coding part and how we can develop a functionality of user online status. So what we want to achieve is that whenever user is in our website, we want to update their online status to online. That is, they are right now visiting our web page, and you can chat them. And we want this functionality, or we want all the users who are connected to the same group, that they get to know that the other user is online and you can chat with them right now. So this is what we will implement right now. Now, for this online status, or to get started, we need some kind of table or some kind of model where we can store the information that whether the user is online or not. Because whenever new user or whenever the user is accessing our web page for the first time, we want that information from the table. So what we can do is create a user profile, because it's generally a good idea to store these kinds of metadata that are related to the particular user, to store this in particular user profile model. So we'll start with that. We'll create a model. It's creating this in uh, chats app only. So what we can do, we already have a user model here, or user inbuilt user here. So we can use this. So what we can do is create a class. Uh, let's name it user profile model. Inherit this with models.model. User models dot one to one field, because obviously one user will have only one profile, so this will be a one-to-one mapper. We want this to user, and on delete we simply want to delete all the information. Models dot on delete models dot cascade, I guess. Yeah, cascade. Now while we are here, let's save the name of the user. Models dot field. Uh, this will be blank equals to true, null equals to true. And the last field will be online status. This will be models dot boolean field, and we can give the default values false. That is, by default, user is not online. Let's give the string representation for this, and we can return self dot user dot username. Okay, so our model is complete. This is very basic table. We are not making anything fancy. We just want to know the online status and save it in our database. That's why we are using this. Now, what we can do is how we will create this model. So one thing we can do is that whenever the user profile is created, we can create a signal that whenever user profile is created, we want to save there. We want to create their user profile as well. But I'll keep this functionality as a or this feature as a task for you all. So please, you can create a signal, and whenever the user is registered, you can create this profile model with the instance of that user, and you can keep that these name and field as empty for now. And whenever user is logged in, you can ask them to fill out their name and all. So please guys, do work on this. I will not be creating a signal for this, because we right now we are not creating tutorials for the signal. But if you need help with that, I'll definitely create a signal tutorial later. Or you can check out my other tutorials as well where I have implemented signals, or you can just grab the code from the GitHub repo. There is already a code for the signals, how we can create a user profile whenever the user is registered. Now, for now, I'll simply migrate this. So let's migrate manage.py, make migrations. Okay, django.db.models has no attribute. Okay, okay, this should be models.model. Now let's run our migration. Char fields must define a max length. I haven't. Okay. max length equals to 100. 100 is too much, I know, but let's go with 100 only. Okay. Our user profile model is created. Let's register this model to our admin. User profile model admin.site.register user profile model. Now, right now, I already have two users. So if I go to my home page, okay, I have to run server. Python manage file run server. Okay, so my ASGI server is started. Okay, let's go to our home page. So this is user profile model. If I see my users right now, I already have two users. So what I can do is create their profile model manually. But obviously, if you have too many users on your website or in your database, you can generate one Python or create one Python script or any script to, update their user profile using that script. But right now we are getting this error. So let's fix this. Okay, so I guess I haven't run the migrate command. So this might be the issue. Manage.py migrate. Now our table is complete or our table has been created. .py runs server. Okay, now let's try this. Yeah, so that's what the issue is. I forgot to run the migrate command. Let's create, we can give name as Anshu, and this is by default false, so let's keep it that way. Also, I want to create this for Joshua, and that's all. So our user profile models are also completed. But obviously, if you need, you can create a Python script to automatically generate a user profile model for all the users in the list. Because if you have, let's say, 100 or 200 list of users, then obviously it's not a good idea to manually do that because we can obviously do it easily using the script. Now our model is complete. We have a way to store the online status of the user. Now we can start working on our consumers. So right now we only have this personal chat consumer. So in this only we can create another class. We can name it as online status consumer. And similarly, most of the things will be similar to the chat consumer. We will inherit this from async WebSocket consumer and create our very first async function uh, connect. Okay, and we will not return anything. We will, let's say, we can simply give the name of the group because we don't want our group name to be dynamic. We want all the users who are connected to the same group should know the online status of each other. So we can create a static group name. So I'm just naming it as, let's say, user, and I will await for the current user to add this to be added to this group. So self.channel group add, and we want to add this group name and self.channel name. Once this is done, I will await for our connection to be made until it is accepted. Similarly, we can create another function, WebSocket, or simply disconnect anything, and I will name it as message. This also won't return anything, and we want self dot channel layer dot group discard self dot group name and self dot channel name. Okay, so we have the way to make connection, we have the way to disconnect the connection. So our very basic consumer is done. Now what we can do is create a route for this. So similar to this, we can do path ws slash, let's name it as online, and we have to import online status consumer, online status consumer. Okay, so this is also done. We can do one thing, instead of doing or making connection in one JS file, we can make another JS file for this. So we can do name it as online status.js. So, and we can start making our connection. So we can name it as online status equals to new web socket, and similar to that, WS is the protocol, and our host will be window.location.host, and we want to add WS in the URL. And what is there? Online. Okay, so just want to add online and one slash there. Okay, I guess, yeah, one slash. So this is our object of WebSocket. So now what we can do is online status dot on open, that is when the connection is made. We can use callback function with the event e, and we can log or simply type connected to online consumer. Similarly, we can say online status dot on close function. We won't be using this. Okay, console.log is connected from online. So our connection to WebSocket is made, our consumers are done. So we can test this out whether we are able to connect to our online status consumer or not. So in the page.html or here itself, we can import this file. So right below it, I can just copy paste this, and instead of chat.js, I can say online status.js. So we can see whether we are connecting to our online WebSocket, online user status consumer or not. So I can just go to inspect console and let's just restart our server. Okay. Oh yeah, remember we have changed the path. One thing, I can just go to home and click on Joshua here. Now this is the connection established to our chat consumer, and this is our connection established to online consumer. So we are connected to our online consumer. Okay, that's a good start. Now we have to proceed further and come up with some sort of way to show other users, like if I am entering this website or if I am on this web page, I want all the other users who are currently using this web page to get notified or have some kind of way to identify that this particular user is online. And as we know, we have created a common group with the name user. So all these users who are connected to this consumer, that is online consumer, will have a common group called user. So they all are connected to this common group, and as soon as any user is coming online, we will identify it to this group, and all the users who are connected to this group will also get notified. So this is the flow that we are following or that we are trying to create. So what we can do is that as soon as the connection is open, that is where, let me just close this. The files that we don't need URLs. And we also don't need main chat HTML for now. Okay. So as soon as we are able to make the connection, that is, we are connected to this online consumer, we can send a message from here with the username or with the username of logged in user, and we can uh, pass on some sort of type flag to tell our backend server that this user has come online. So if I open main chat.html, you can see we already have access to this JSON. This is as logged in user. Oh, sorry, this is our logged in user. You can see request.user.username with a JSON message username as ID. So we can use this to get the particular logged in user. So, and as soon as they are connected to our group, we want to send some kind of data to our backend server to identify that this user is logged. So what we can do is create another const, and we can say login user, and it can say, and as you can see, this is a JSON script. So this is the JSON script tag that we have used from Django. So what I have to do is JSON dot parse document dot get element by ID, and ID that I have to give is this one. So this is the ID that is created by JSON script, and I just want a text content from this. So I'll get a current user who is logged in. Now I can use this logged in user here, and I can send message on status dot send. We have this function, but remember we have to make a JSON string out of it. JSON dot stringify, and we can do this. We can send username as key and value as logged in user, and we can send type as open. So this means that this particular user with this username has logged in or has open connection to our website. So we want all the user who are connected to the same group to get notified or identified that this user has logged in, and you can chat with them. Okay. So now we are sending function from here. So we have to implement a receive function in our consumers to receive this function or receive this value. So right after this, we can write another async function receive. We have this text data variable here or argument. So in this text data, we will get actually this value. We are sending from our WebSocket. So let's just remove this from here, and what we can do, data equals to JSON. We have to import JSON. No, we already have imported JSON dot load, and we have to load this text data. Remember, we have JSON stringify here, so we have to do the JSON load here to get the data in proper format. Now we want username from this. So what we can do is data username, because remember this is the key we are sending from here. And similarly, we can get the type. So I'm gonna name it here as connection type, and this is data type, as this is the key we are sending from our WebSocket. So that is what we are getting here, because after doing JSON.load, this all will be converted to Python native data type, that is dictionary. And we can print this out actually. We can print out our connection type, and let's just test it out. Let's just test it out. Okay. So get let's do this a refresh, and after, yes, you can see we are getting open, because remember, as soon as the connection is made to our WebSocket consumer through here, we are sending a message, and that's the message we are receiving. And after printing it out, we get this as open. Now we can know that this particular user with this username has entered our website. So now we know that this particular user has entered our website with the connection type open. For now, we are dealing with the open connection type. Once we are done with the open, we will understand how we can implement the offline status as well. So as soon as we get the type as open, we want to update this in our database. So how can we do that? Similarly, like in our chat consumer, if you see where we have receive function, we get the message and username. We save this message using self.save message. We have created save message here, and using database sync to async, we are saving it or creating this object here every time the data is or the message is sent. So something similar we will do for our disconnect for our this online status consumer as well. So let's start with that, and let's see how we can update this. So what I will do, uh, I will simply create a function to change the online status. So if I go here, I will create a function uh, if change online status. This will take self as a keyword and username as parameter, and I'm gonna name C type because we want to check the connection and update the database accordingly. Now, because we are dealing with Django channels, so I have to use this consumer database sync to async because we are using async WebSocket consumer. So this is the decorator we have to use. Now I can get the user from use. I haven't imported. I have to get the user first. So let's import that from django.con, I guess country dot auth dot models import user. Now our user is imported. User dot objects dot get and username equals to this username. Sorry, username. Similarly, we can get user once we have user, we can get user profile, user, sorry, we have to import our user profile model as well. So from chat, user profile model as well. User profile model dot objects dot get, and we can give user as this user. Now, obviously, we can do this in one query with select related or as well. So we'll modify or optimize this code later. But for now, let's say if our C type is open. So what we want to do is user profile dot online status. We want it to be set to true because remember when the connection is open, that is we are getting the open value from here. That is user has entered our website, and we'll do user profile dot save. We can use the update as well, but why are we using save? Because we want to use signal also, and update method does not invoke post save or pre-save signal. It is save method that invokes the Django signal. So that's why I'm using save method here. And similarly, if we are getting anything else that is offline status or anything, then what I simply want uh, our online status to be set to false. And we can just save our model or database. So our function is complete to save the data. That is, as soon as we get the user status as open, we will set the status as true. Otherwise, we will set it as false. Now we will call this function here. So with our await self dot change online status, we can give username as username and connection type, because these are the two parameters that our function is accepting. Okay, username and C type here. So this is what we need. Now our status function, sorry, status is updated in our database. So now we can save the value in our database as soon as we get the type open. And if not open, then simply change our online status as false. Okay, now what we want to do is come up with a function or come up with a solution that as soon as this is updated, I want all the users to be notified that their status is updated or their online status is offline or online, similar. So what we can do, we can implement a signal for this. So if you don't know what Django signals are basically, let's say we want to trigger some kind of event just after the save method uh, is invoked. So let's say I want, like earlier I said, let's say you want to create a user profile model just after user is registered. You can do this using Django signals. So Django signals are very, you know, good and efficient solution to this. And there are a bunch of Django signals, not only this. We have pre-save, post-save. So these are invoked just after save method or just before save method. Similarly, we have M2M change, which is invoked when the many-to-many field is changed and request complete and request processed, I guess. I haven't used that one, but we have something similar to request complete. So as soon as one Django HTTP request or any request is completed, this particular signal is invoked. But right now we are interested in post save. So post save or pre save, to be on this safer side, we will use post save, but you can use pre save as well. So let me just create a function, a file, signals.py. If you don't know how to configure signals, you can follow me this tutorial along and you'll understand how we can configure the signal. Now let's say I have created this signal, but I have to tell our app that we have we are using signals. So we have to create one function here, that is def ready. And instead of returning anything, I just want import chats signal. That's all. And in our init.py, I have to write default, I guess, app underscore config. I guess we have to write chats dot apps, and what's the name of our app? Chats config. Yeah. So this is what we have to give. Now our signals are ready to be used. So we can start with our signal. Now before that, we need to make some imports, and I'll tell you what those are. So we have to do from django.db.models signals import. So you can see we have post save, post init, post migrate, which is invoked just after the migration command, post save, post delete also, and similarly if I type r or m2m change, pre migrate, and there are a bunch of signals. You can just look online for all the list, but we will be using post save. And we also have to import from django.dispatch import. I think it's django.dispatch. Yeah, import receiver. What else we need is our model. So that is user profile model. We also, yeah, these all things we need. So what we can do is create our very first signal. So I'll create one function and I'll name it send online status. And this will take sender as a parameter, instance created, and then any n number of parameters that it wants. So I can just give works. And we also want to add this decorator here, receiver. What kind of signal? Post save. And who will be the sender? So our sender will be user profile model. So this receiver is actually invoking the signal. What kind of signal we are invoking is post save. And who are the senders? Sender is basically telling what object uh, does the sender have to look for. So we are telling our signal that we have to look any changes after or any post save changes in our this model or user profile model in this case. Created. Now we will use this created argument that we have passed. So what we will do here, if not, so this created is actually true when our object is created for the very first time. But we are not interested whether this object is created for the very first time. We are interested in the value change of our online status. And by default, value of our online status won't be changing when this object is created. We are interested when it is updated. So that's why this is additional check here. That is, if not created, we want our channel layer here as well. So let's try and import that. So what I can say from channels dot layers for get channel layer, and also I want from spref dot sync import a sync to sync, a sync to sync, this one, because remember our WebSocket functions are a sync function. That's why we need this. So let's initiate or instantiate our channel when this condition is true. So channel, we can name this channel layer equals to get channel layer, and what we can do is get our instance or get our user. So we can say user will be instance dot user dot username. Now you know our sender is this model. So this is actually the value that is updated is our instance. So remember, if we check our model, if we do instance.user.username, we will get the username of that particular order, of that particular user. So we have username, so we can get the user status. So we can do instance.online status. Correct. We have our user, we have our online status. So we can create a dictionary here to send. So what we can do is username. We can give it a value as user, and we can send a status key from here, and we can give it as user status. Now we can do one thing. We have to send this right to our channel group, so we can use this async to sync. Now channel layer dot group send, that is we are using group send function because we want to send this value to all the connections that are connected to this view. Now we have to give our here we have to give the name of our group or the group name. So remember our group name is user, and we have to give the type. So type is actually send online status, and our value will be JSON dot terms data. We haven't imported JSON, right? So we need this import JSON. Okay. So this type don't worry about this. Don't get confused about this. This type is actually telling this group send function that we will use this function to send this data. So how we will use this type, you'll understand in a bit. So let's get started with that. So remember, we have name here as send online status. So let me just copy this and we'll use this function only. So right after our model is saved, I'll actually this should be a sync function because we have given it as async to sync def, and this is where that type comes into picture. So the type that we have given here, I have to create that same function in our consumer, and this will take event as a parameter, and this event is actually this extra parameter or this value. So this event argument will hold this argument that we are sending. So we can do data equals to JSON dot loads, and remember event dot get, and remember the key we are sending from there. So that is value, this key. Okay, now we have data. So we can say user name equals to data username, and we can say online status equals to data status. Similarly, we can print or just wait, we can simply send this to all the group from here. To self.send, we have to send text data. So this will be JSON dot dumps, and we have to give username key. This will be username, and online status, sorry, online status as well. So now this function is complete. So we are almost ready to test this out. So if hopefully everything works, we'll able to see the online status of the user. But before that, we don't have any, functionality to differentiate between our online users and offline users. So what we can do here is where we have the list of all the users. So what we can do where we have this list, or not this list, where we are printing out the name of all the users. What we can do here is differentiate. Let's say we can check here how we can say if user dot user profile model, user profile model dot online status, right? Then we can style it as style. We can give color as green. Otherwise, else what we can do, just copy this here. Else we can give this as color gray, and we can end if. Okay. So I think by this we will be able to differentiate between the offline and online and offline users. So if I refresh this, so this is great. So that means Joshua's online status is offline. That is, he is offline. Okay, so we can use this. Also, what I can do is give ID to this and some sort of dynamic ID to identify this. So I can give user dot username. I can add a word here, status, and similarly I can give this ID here as well. And why am I giving this dynamic ID? You'll understand in a bit. So let's just come here, and what we can do is like the message that we are sending here in on we have to implement on receive function here to receive those messages, or actually not receive but actually on message function. Yeah, so this is the function in which we will receive our values. So function e. Now remember, this is a JSON data, so we have to parse this. So our data equals to JSON dot parse, and it will be e dot data. And if data dot username, remember we are sending the username from our consumer. This username, if our username is not equal to logged in user, we want that ID that we have created. Where it is? Yeah, this ID. We have to create this dynamically, right? So why am I doing this? Just bear with me. I'll explain you in a bit. So user to change, or I can get document dot get element by ID, and I can use string literal here. So dollar data dot username, and we have appended a status word there, right? Now we are ready to check if data dot online status equally true, then user to change dot style dot color equals to green, else user to change dot style dot color equals to gray, right? Now let me just walk you through what I have done here. So as soon as we get the message from our Django channels consumer, we want to identify from this, like right now here is only one user, but we have to identify from this list who is actually that user who is logged in, right? Who is that particular user who is logged in? So that's why I'm doing here. If data.username is not equal to logged in user, that is this particular user, then I want to do this. I want to get the that ID, because remember we have made the ID dynamic here. Then I want to get that ID and I want to change their color depending on the online status we get. So if it is true, remember we have parsed the data. So if it is true, I want to set that color to green. Else, I want to send it as uh, gray, because this in this manner we will be able to identify who are logged in, who are offline and online. If the color is green, that means they are online. If that is uh, gray, that means they are offline. So okay, so that is done. Now still there is one thing missing, as soon as we are opening the connection, we are sending this, we are, creating this as open. Okay, sending this as type open. But how we will be able to send on offline status, that is, user has uh, left our website or for any reason is not in our website or web page. So there's one function that or event, I would say, that browsers or JavaScript provides. So we can say Windows dot add event listener, and that event is before unload. So this is the event fired just before our tab or our browser window is closed. So we can say function and we can send the status from here as well. So online status dot send, and we have to remember we have to stringify it, JSON dot stringify, and again we will send username. So this will be logged in user, and our type in this case will be offline. So remember, as soon as our connection is open, we are sending the type open, and when the type is open, this status will be saved to true, else this will be saved to false. So in this case, when we are sending the type offline, the status will be saved to false. So that's how this code will be working. So let's test this out. Okay, and I have this another window open here. Okay, I have to, okay, so Anshu is online, because remember here, yeah, Anshu is online and Joshua is here in this Microsoft Edge. So you can see for Joshua, Anshu is online, and for Anshu, Joshua is online. So let's say let me just copy this, and let's say I close this window here. So you can see Joshua has left or closed that tab. So this unload event, where it is, yeah, this before unload, this event is triggered, and that has sent to our consumer a status or type as offline. And because the type is offline, our model or our database has set the online status as false, and that's why this is happening. So let me just bring them side by side so you can see that simultaneously. Also, guys, as you know, this website is not responsive, this WhatsApp clone. So I want any of you to make this website responsive and make a pull request to the repository, and I'll take a look at that and will merge it. So please, if you, or even better, I will, no, you can just create a pull request and I'll take a look at your code. So if you can make this responsive, that would be really appreciating. So please look at this, and you can create a pull request, and if everything goes or if everything working smoothly, I'll merge that code. So this way you'll also have an opportunity to contribute in open GitHub repositories. So please, if any of you want to contribute in this project, you can make this website responsive and we'll proceed further from there. Okay, anyways, coming back to our project, let me just close this. And what we can do, that should be fine. So I'll just paste that same URL here, and you can see this color is change. This color changes back to green. Now let's say, let me just copy this. Now let's say I close this tab. You can see this color changes to gray because Anshu has left that web page. So before unload event is triggered, and this color is changed back to gray. And you can identify this. If I open our user profile model and sees Anshu's model, online status is set to uh, false. Now let's say I paste that link here. Anshu is online now. So now if I refresh this, you can see this online status is changed to false. Sorry, true. We can also test Anshu. So yeah, our message consumer is also working. Hey Josh. And also, guys, if any of you will work on this uh, responsiveness, then also make sure that I don't have to click on submit every time. So let's say I've typed one message here and I can just press enter to send the message. So please, if anyone of you are willing to contribute, so take a look at this. If not, I'll surely implement this later. But like it's a good opportunity for you, so you can contribute if you want. Now also what we can do is, let's say in our code, we can have some sort of, how can I say, some sort of mechanism like WhatsApp really has. So right after the username, they show you the online and offline status. So like if the user is online, they'll show you a small message as online. So we can do that also. So right after our username. Where is that? Yeah, right after this, what we can do is if, no, sorry, if user dot user profile model dot online status, and we can give a small tag here, and we can give it ID as same. ID should be unique for every element, so we'll do this instead. Username small, and we can give value as online. Else, we can just copy paste this, and we can write here offline, and we can end this here. And when we are setting this color to green or blue, or green or gray, what we can do where small status to change document dot get element by ID, and we can do sorry, dollar data to user data dot user name and state sorry, this, yeah. And if it is true, we want a small status to change dot text content to be online. Otherwise, we want it to be offline, right? Okay, now we can test this out simultaneously. So this is online, this is also online. Now let's say, let me just copy this, and let's say I close this. So this is changed to offline. So now you can understand more clearly. Now if I again open that, okay, and I paste this here. Okay, it's an incognito window. So these are some extra checks that we have to apply. So wait, I have to log in once again. Accounts dot login. This is not an error. This is just an additional checks that we have to, apply to these kinds of web apps that user can't access our websites without login. So let me just log in here. Okay. Now if I click on this Anshu here, so you can see status has changed to online. So that means Joshua is now online. If I go back, you can see again the status has changed to offline. If I go back in, status has changed to online. Because remember, our consumer or our JavaScript WebSocket connection is made as soon as we are coming to this URL. So that's why this is happening. Now again, we can test this here as well. So let me just go back to the home page. You can see Anshu's status has changed to offline. Now Anshu's status has changed to online. So this is the functionality of online and offline status of the user. Feel free to reach me in Telegram or LinkedIn or anywhere if you have issue configuring this. I know many of you are asking for a long period of time to please create this. So now I got the time, so I decided to complete this tutorial as well. Now, also some additional features that are left, I know, are chat notification. So we'll in the next video we'll implement a chat notification, and later we'll proceed if we want to, implement a chat, a message seen unseen status. So we can implement that also later. But for now, these are two main functionalities that everyone have been asking about. That is online and offline status and chat notification. Okay, I guess then we can conclude this video here. So if you have any query or anything, you can reach me back to Telegram. If not in the group, then you can text me personally. There's no foundation. You can text me personally in Telegram, and I'm responding to most of your questions in some or the other way. Also, I'll try to be frequent with videos now as much as possible, but I'm not sure whether I can upload the video on the daily basis. But on the weekends, I'll try to upload one or two videos on the regular basis. So once again, thank you so much for watching. And please guys do like, share and subscribe if possible. And thank you so much once again for watching.